Casey counts them down.
I'm Casey Kasem. Well, we have only one debut this week, and that means we have to say goodbye to a single dropper. Falling off the survey is Shy Guy by Diana King. And rolling in at number 33, here's that debut. It's by the British duo Everything But the Girl. The song is called Missing.
Counting them down with Casey Kasem.
Well, now we're up to Everything But the Girl, a British duo that once had a terrible winter. They were driven out of their London home by noisy construction, only to be snowbound for 4 days without food. It all happened to guitarist Ben Watt and singer Tracy Thorn back in 1987, when the London government decided to begin construction on a 90-foot flood control system right next to their riverfront home. The non-stop noise of heavy machinery drove Ben and Tracy crazy, until finally they decided they'd had enough. So they packed their bags, loaded up the car, and drove north to a much quieter place, a cottage in the English countryside. But the calm rest they expected wasn't to be theirs. A major snowstorm hit the countryside. Heavy winds blew the snow into huge drifts that were so high they trapped the two musicians inside their cottage. When they awoke the next morning, Ben and Tracy discovered they were stuck without food or electricity. They couldn't even open the door. It took rescue teams 4 days to get them out. But when they did, the two musicians emerged eager to put their troubles behind them and get on with their career. These days, 9 years later, that career is in great shape because a dance remix of a track from their CD Amplified Heart has become a huge international smash, a song that recently spent 4 weeks at number 1 here in the USA. At number 9 this week on Casey's Top 40, here are Ben Watt and Tracy Thorn, the duo Everything But the Girl with Missing.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem. And climbing 4 notches to number 34 on Casey's Top 40, here's the duo Everything But the Girl. Not only are they a hot act on the charts these days, but their website on the internet is a hot place in cyberspace. It's a huge site containing more than 50 pages of text and photos, and it can be found at www.ebtg.com. This is EBTG, Everything But the Girl with Wrong.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem, and that means we're up to the number 1 song of 1996 on Casey's Top 40. It's a song that was first released nearly 2 years ago and went nowhere. That first version appears on a CD called Amplified Heart. And in its original form, this song about broken love features simple lyrics sung over a jazzy combination of guitar and keyboards. When it was first released as a single in 1994, it was a flop. Even in England, where the duo made up of guitarist Ben Watt and singer Tracy Thorn have been successful for years, it barely scratched the charts. Then Tracy started working with a popular British dance act called Massive Attack. And when she heard how her voice sounded over a dance beat, she loved the sound, and so did Ben. And it gave him an idea. They went back into the studio with dance remixer Todd Terry and dug up the tracks for their failed single. They recorded some new parts on a synthesizer and added a far more aggressive dance beat. Then they re-released the song. This time, it became an international smash. It hit number 1 all over Europe and spent 4 weeks at the top here in the USA. In the process, it transformed this British duo into a major international act. And now, 2 years after the original version flopped, that song stands on top of our special year-end survey as the biggest hit of the year. The number 1 song of 1996 on Casey's Top 40 is Missing by Everything But the Girl.
America's Top Hits.
6 years ago this week, back in 1996, one of the top hits in the USA was Missing by a duo who took their unusual name from a furniture store that specialized in decorating homes for newlyweds. The store is called Turner's. It was situated in the town of Hull in England, not far from London. It's a town where musicians Ben Watt and Tracy Thorn lived during the 80s, and they were always intrigued by this furniture store's slogan, which was the shop's way of saying that they'd sell everything the couple needed, except, of course, the bride. The slogan, Everything But the Girl.
America's Top Hits.
This This week back in 1996, one of the top hits in the USA was Missing. It's by a duo, one of whom is the author of a book about the disease that almost ended his life. It was back in the late 80s that Ben Watt, half of the duo called Everything But the Girl, came down with a rare ailment called Churg-Strauss syndrome. The disease totally incapacitated him and led to a string of operations to save his life. For months, things were very touch and go. He could have died at any time. But his spirit was strong, and after many months, he returned to music. Ben Watt wrote a book about his experience called Patient, the True Story of a Rare Illness, and it was a bestseller in England at the same time that Ben had one of the top hits in the USA back in 1996. Here's Everything But the Girl and Missing.
I step off the train,